It is 7 a.m. and I have been awake since 5:45, and my little brain is just coming up with all these ideas about things to say and just realizations and all of these things. It's I hope I remember all of this, What a very strange, very beautiful time. I'm a little superstitious about continuing to talk because this is new recording 13. I don't know. But 3 + 1 is 4, though, So is it really? What I was going to say before starting to talk was that I've been wanting to start this for about an hour now, but I always feel like I have to wait till it's dark for some reason. Which I don't really need to do, considering it is so dark in my room. It seems like it's dark. I will just turn my lights on so I feel at peace in my ambient room. What would it be? My village lighting. My underground bar lighting. My winter village lighting. My lives on the island lighting. My lives on the island in Washington lighting. I was trying to record the rain. And I can't see out of the window because it's the bathroom window. It sounds pretty good though. Let's see. Maybe you can get a good clip of it. Ooh. My car looks nice and clean, which I'm okay with. It feels good. But there's lightning and I'm scared of lightning. So, on that note, I'm going to tell you about the time I almost got killed in a lightning storm. And what better time? So, sit back, relax, drive, walk, clean the house, oil your feet, lay flat on the ground, all of my favorite things. Walk around the mall aimlessly. That's one of my favorite things to do as well. I actually considered, this is such a dumb thing. I don't know if I can even say it. I should say it. I have to say it just because this is about breaking things down. Things being my own insecurities in my mind so that I feel liberated from my own thoughts, so that I feel liberated enough to speak, even when I may think I sound, not educated. So, do I really want to get back in this position? I don't think I do. I think I'm going to take a new position here. Okay. I'm sorry if I yawn a lot, and I also do need my drink, of course. So, if I were you, I would just listen to this I'm just everyone's friend. That's basically it. I'm just everyone's friend. And some people have been dickheads and just like very critical in life. And those people were my friends too. So now I'm not as naive to people who compete with you who shouldn't, because I don't know what it is, but oh my gosh, this sounds so good. Wowie. Oh, I'm so glad I'm not on the highway right now. It's about that time. It's a good 7:27. And this is May of 2026. We just had Saturn enter Pisces. And what else happened? A lot of shit happened in my life. I don't know about yours. I have a lot of things to say. What a memorable time. I almost just want to paint. I am feeling such... Pisces is my 5th house. 5th house represents creativity. Can you tell? I have been incessantly creating. I am an art school dropout or drop in, and with that being said, I did spend a lot of my life creating things, so it's so weird. I know that everyone else is going through a lot of shit right now too. And I don't think it's so different for everyone. But it seems like it's big. Like a lot of big things. Everyone close to me is going through something pretty big. And the ones who are quiet about it, there are some people that are close to me. They're not telling me what's happening, but I can feel it. And I can feel it in their silence. And these are also people who I see a lot and I know very well. So they're not actually silent. Like, I'm still interacting with them, but I can feel it. Like, you know? You know what I'm saying? The world right now is going through such a strange shift. I wonder what it would be like to listen to this. And I'm sure I'll listen to this someday, a lot later, when I am way far down the road. What a better way to engage with yourself than like reading all of your notes or having to carry the journals around. I'm a huge advocate of journals and just writing. I wish I kept all my notebooks and moleskins and everything, tons and tons and tons and tons of things. But yeah, a lot of journals, a lot of writing. And I am that person who's... Okay, this is why I paused at I, because I don't want to keep saying I, my eyes. But, it's just me. So, I hope that I'm having this conversation with you, whoever you are. And I'm just having this conversation, like, with everyone, because I feel like these are just normal people things to think about. You know, these are like bar conversations without the alcohol, which makes it so much better. Because I don't know about you, but I get really loud. And then everyone's friend. And sometimes the bartenders don't like that. So, okay. The funny thing is that it's still recording number 13. Maybe I should wait till it's at 13 minutes and then I'll stop it. I think that's a good idea. 3, 6, 7, 8. 8 is a lucky number. 8 is a number of wealth. And I think in like a Chinese culture. So, okay. Yeah. Oh, I am that person. I always have to sigh. I know. I have to always sigh. I yawn. I do a lot of yawning and sighing around this time of day. I'm so sorry about that, but I refuse to edit it out. If you want to keep count, you can. It's probably not fun to do that, though. So, yeah, this is a conversation just about, you know, the states of being that we are constantly in and becoming. Oh, it's like for some reason, I don't even want to say this because it's so controversial, but now I'm going to say it. Spoken word always just didn't really, I respected a lot. I respected it a lot, but it wasn't my jam, you know? But it's kind of like, I feel like this, whatever it is that I'm doing, it is improv in a way. It does feel like improv. And it's nice because it's actually my voice, which is like my favorite instrument. And even though I'm not singing, I am speaking and I'm using my things in my mind. So it's almost kind of even cooler because I get to do everything and just wait, maybe someday. So, So, back to lots of change. I have to dim my screens because you already know these screens be killing the vibe. We're living in a time that is so tech dominated, and I don't know about you, but life seems less tangible. Life seems less fulfilling. Not in my own state, but in my interactions with others. And maybe that's just because of the vast differences in lifestyle I've experienced in such a short period of life. So when I think about the times in the world that I lived through that seemed very there was the population as a whole was kind of alive or like feeling good. I'm gonna go with like a good like 1998, 1999. Even though I was young, I still felt it. I had this feeling. And then around maybe like 2003, and then maybe around like 2008, 2009, even though a lot happened in 2009, and there was a lot of economic stuff, there was also, it wasn't totally, I didn't have an iPhone yet. I base a lot of my timeline on when I got an iPhone. It's a strange thing because it's almost like I do like where we are in some ways. And this is where I'm just going to talk out loud and kind of figure out where I'm at. And that's what this is about, is me talking out loud. For some reason, I have to talk about things out loud to figure out where I stand. And I don't have anyone else to talk to who thinks like me or is similar enough in thinking to have that, wordplay, like, run around, which I really wish I did have that right now, but I don't. So I'm going to have it with you, my either friends. And, what if I made a record and I just made one record, and that way I could have it playing in the background and it would be my calm stuff, and just the sound, not even the sound of what was on the record, just the sound of it spinning is that kind of that white noise, because I do feel like this has a late night radio show vibe. I don't want to say vibe. Late, all I need to say is late night radio show. It has a late night radio show feel. It has a late night radio show feel. It is a late night radio show, okay? It is this weird kind of punk collective, but not. I might my own punk collective. I don't know. If it is that, then I need to definitely make one record that's my own. How do you make one record? I don't know. I've never looked up the process of record making. I'm sure it's really very interesting, and I will look it up and I will come back and talk about it. Just like I looked up Hegel. And I think that actually was the philosopher that I was thinking of. Turns out it had to have been him, because when I was reading about it, I was like, oh my gosh, this guy, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. I don't remember exactly the three main points that they kept using. I would have had to read it more to kind of solidify how they were using those terms. Maybe, well, I'm not going to try it here. But what I am remembering was that he basically believed, and I can be totally wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'm a human being. I'm just talking out loud to understand my own mind. So please. Yeah. So I think that, and I'm going to keep looking it up. It's like a recall. It's like a fun recall game. He was basically saying that nothing is absolute and that everything is a process. And this is amazing because I would always say this when I was younger and making lots and lots of artwork. Just a total, I've always been a kind of a renegade artist. It's true. And that was, I was a very young, but it was very unique to me, definitely. And I would always say to my instructors, like, they would be like, you know, they would try to critique it in some way, like, what's your direction, or blah, blah, blah. And I would just be like, it's about the process. It's all about the process. Which it is, and it always is. I've still retained that theme. I've still retained the theme that it is about the process. And this idea that something is fixed, and this relates so much to my ideology on content as well. Whereas I don't want a perfectly wrapped something. I don't want a perfectly wrapped idea. Because perfectly wrapped ideas are just limiting. And perfectly wrapped ideas, how do I say this? They assume, it has something to do with like the ego of the creator. Something about whoever creates a perfectly packaged idea is almost limiting themselves from any future input or any growth or any progress. That's why I am pretty expansive in like my delivery, and I am more interested in like developing and discovering and leaving space for conscious thought to exist. You know, that's all. I'm interested in creating a platform where conscious thought can be just discussed and not like overly intellectualized, you know? Because I'm just like a normal person, you know? I might have a capacity to learn things that are difficult and maybe explain them in a way that's easy. But I need like stepping stones, you know, to get there. And most people do. And most people, well, a lot of people don't even want to step up, you know, they don't want the stones. So I like stones. I want to step up. So I would like to get back to that. Yes. So I did look him up, and I would love to read more about him. And I actually think I might have used some of his work. I might have used some of his work. It wasn't, it was from The Absolute Spirit. And the phenomenology. Phenomenology. No. Phenomenology. Fucking retard. Phenomenology. I have to edit that out. I can't say retard. I could definitely not get hired at a hospital if I say retard on the internet. But I didn't mean it that way. That's just because of my ignorance and my ageism. That's it. It's kind of like how certain generations don't have much of a tolerance for other generations. You know what I'm saying? But in this case, I'm admitting my mistake. Phenomenal. Okay. phenomenology. I don't have a difficult time pronouncing a lot of words. Phenomenology. I don't know why I put an extra. It's phenomenology. It's a phenomena. The phenomenology of spirit. 1807. His most famous work, which traces the evolution of human consciousness from basic sensory perception all the way to absolute knowledge. Oh my gosh. Yes. I remember, I think the person that first recommended this to me was some kid from my younger years. I think, I actually don't know his name. Like, I can't remember his name. I really didn't know him very well. I didn't know him really well at all. He was just around a little bit. He would be around like here and there at a few parties. They weren't even parties. They were gatherings. We would just have gatherings. I can't even believe. Actually, those were some of the gatherings I enjoyed. And I'm trying to think of the people that were around and throughout those. And I mostly liked the people around, but this is related to when I do remember one person always being close to me, like in the vicinity that was closest to me, which was one of my really good friends. And he would usually keep me kind of company. So I felt like, okay, he can say like what I'm thinking because he already knows like what I'm thinking basically. And then the other kid, this one, the philosopher kid, I remember he just had a thing for philosophy and he would talk about it all the time. And I thought it was totally fascinating. One, because I like it, and two, because I just am in constant like awe of people who are well spoken and have humility and that kind of thing. I remember him like talking to me. I guess I was describing my philosophy on life or something. And he was like, okay, I think this is who you should read. But then I actually forgot about that because I didn't realize it was the same person. And I am realizing that while looking at the major works here, because I know that I used some of this while I was at design school and at college. So a lot of times I would say I went to a pretty badass college, I'm not gonna lie. I will say that I was challenged by some of the most incredibly upstanding intellectuals I have ever to this day met, and they were all my instructors. I wish that I was this age, or maybe not quite this old. I would still be happy to learn from them, but I don't think I was ready for my mind was not mature enough to the function of society for whatever reason. Not that I wasn't mature enough to understand these concepts, but I wasn't fully mature enough to understand these concepts. I think had I been like So I did start around like 18. I think had I been at least 24 or 25, not even, 21 is when I started reading like a lot of books. Actually, it was earlier than that. It was 19. When I was 19, I started reading a fuck ton of books. Well, I don't know. But what I'm saying is that I wish and I am grateful for the education that I had at the new school, because they were just all such incredibly intelligent human beings. And they knew the bullshit reality that we were coming into. And they were trying their best to really make us read, make us think, and make us write. I mean, it was a blue book school. So my entire curriculum was writing. All the tests were writing. Everything was writing. And I didn't really have, I would say that I didn't have the education that would have been best for my intellect. Yeah, I would say that I could have been challenged more and maybe gotten a little bit farther earlier, but I don't regret it or anything, because I was able to become an artist. And what a very unique and like bohemian life, early life. And all of those people, I wonder what they are doing now. Like, I'm thinking of my professors who were all I just respected them so much as individuals with very confident perspectives. They were so uniquely themselves. They were absolutely standout humans. Aside from a few fucking dicks. But they already knew who they were, and I didn't like their asses anyways. The ones that didn't like my work, who were just mean, I'm like, okay, you don't like that? How can you not like that? It's so cool. Like, what are you talking about? You don't like that. You're just a hater. So those existed too, but so I don't want to go down all that road, but what I'm saying is I think about these people in this moment, and I wonder, I would love to read and see all of the things they've created in their lives, because we were their audience and we were they were our mentors. I am who I am because of those people. Look, it almost makes me cry because of all the incredible teachers I have had in my life. I have had so many. It does help that I've been learning my entire life, so I don't see that changing ever. But Hegel and the philosophy guy, the philosophy kid, he really thesis, antithesis, synthesis. Okay. We'll come back to that because I need to figure out what the hell that means. Like, when I think about my favorite people I think about, well, I don't want to go there, but okay. So, again, we're just here. We're just living beings. We're just being. There's lightning. I am so afraid of lightning. So here's what happened. Maybe about 5 years ago now. Was it 6 years ago? Was it 7 years ago? Oh my gosh. I have been in a really unique place for a good 6 years, or however many years it's been. And the last time that I went to North Carolina on my own, which I don't know why I say on my own, because I pretty much go everywhere on my own. But I would often go to North Carolina just to go camp and hang out and enjoy my life, because that's a good thing to do. And I decided to go hiking. It was a perfectly clear sunny day. And I was at Linville Falls. And it was around like midday. I had just spent the day, I don't know, probably went to McDonald's in the morning. There's not really, I'm remembering that. I'm remembering going to Spruce Pine. I'm remembering stopping at the bank, finding this little cafe. There's this cafe on like one of the south streets that's actually next to a guitar shop. And I went into the guitar shop because I was trying to find a parlor guitar. And they did not have one. But I ended up talking to everyone there, and at the time I was planning on moving to Asheville. So I think I took their business card because I was expecting to come back to the shop and maybe take lessons or something. And then I stopped at this cafe next to the guitar shop. And I remember it was cute and cozy. I'm sure I got an iced coffee, per usual. I don't know. I just remember it had like a nook feeling. It had a nice, slow, small coffee shop. Kind of only place in town kind of feel. Actually, that's not true. There were two. I went to both of them. The other one had more of a young owner feel. Like a young, lot of kids family feel. Very modern, minimal, cool kids that were probably my age who opened it. At the time, I guess I was maybe 30. 29, 30. I guess 29, huh? So, anyways, that was what happened earlier that day. I think it's the same day. It could have been a different day, but around that time on that trip. Look, I'm getting nervous just telling the story. So, Linville Falls is a very special place to me because my father and I released my mother's ashes there. And that was her wish. So I was like, obviously I have to go hike these falls because this is a tribute to my mother. And I was camping at the campground that is just down the street. And I had spent a lot of time there growing up, so I knew the area really, really well. And I felt very comfortable, like, pretty much just felt the whole trip was nice. I was just enjoying my life and, being young and free. So I have my hiking boots on. I'm trying to remember what I was wearing. I have my camelback on. It's totally sunny. This hike is not very long. It's not long. And it's not, there are multiple, parts to it. So I think it's 3 tiers. You can walk up to the first tier, second tier, third tier, something like that. And, I was walking up the trail. And I walked up to the first one, which is the most common. It's really pretty, the first little trail part, because you walk out into this, well, actually you go through these steps that are carved out along the mountain, and you feel very close to the rocks, and you also have to watch where you're stepping because there are all these rocks. And it's not like you can fall off or anything, but it's like a big plateau. So you walk out into this big plateau, and there you are. And I think you're actually at the top of the falls there. Oh man. I don't know. I don't remember. Are you at the top of the falls? It can't be that way. So, basically, I get to the first plateau. Everything's fine. There are people around me. Everything's totally normal. It's pretty. I'm just enjoying being in nature. Little me, no headphones, no ignoring reality, lots of being in reality, and just look at all this lightning. I'm scared. And, look, I have to move my computer. I'm so scared. And it's plugged in. But I don't want to unplug it because, it will die. So, I go up. I keep going up, and I'm at that time I was super fit. I was very fit, and I had just been living in northern Washington state. So I was in the city that I was living in Washington, I didn't have a car, and there were all these hills. So I biked and walked everywhere. So my body was very comfortable walking very fast up steep hills. Let's put it that way. And so I just kind of ran up the mountain to the highest peak. And when I got up there, there was no one up there, really. And all of a sudden, it got completely black. Out of, honestly, like a movie. Like a fake film. Like a film. It could have been AI. Maybe they were testing clouds or rain clouds. I don't know. But all of a sudden, and I was at the very dome of it, the tip top of the mountain. Okay. And it's pretty steep. And I had that instinctual feeling you better get the fuck down as fucking fast as you can, and you do not breathe, do not fall, do not move, pray to God, you're gonna be okay. I promise you're gonna be okay. Self, you're gonna be okay, self. It's okay. At this moment, you're okay. So, I very calmly started walking down the trail. On the right side of the trail, I was hugging. On the right side of the trail, I was basically hugging the shrubbery that was close to like, it was like a gradient. It was a hill of a gradient. And a lot of the path was cleared out, but there were a lot of trees to my left. So I was hugging the gradient where there was like, I could kind of hide out under little shrubs as I was running down the path. Now, within the first, I have no real understanding of the length of time it took me to get down the mountain. I'm gonna guess it felt longer than it was. I'm gonna guess it was about 7 minutes. But it felt like 15. And what happened was that I felt the feeling of the air seeming different. The air around me felt different. Like the thickness of it, the temperature of it, everything felt different. Then it got really dark. So I felt it first and I started getting down. And then when it got really dark, I realized, okay, this is happening right now. This is a rain cloud. This came out of nowhere. At that time, I had already figured it out. And I think it was just because it was lunchtime. Like no one was really there. Also, it was like during the middle of the week. And it was maybe like a Thursday, you know? So it wasn't really busy. If it would have been a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there would have been people around. But it wasn't really that busy even earlier. So as I'm hugging the side. I'm focusing on my breath. I feel like I have eyes all over my body. Like I feel like the closest to death I've ever been. I felt like that at that moment. Like I have to get out of this. And here's why. As soon as I had started running down the side of the mountain, hugging the trail, and that feeling I told you, the temperature change and the eeriness feeling, there was purple lightning strikes. Very, 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 very close to me. Very close to me. I would say, okay, I can see it in my peripheral vision. It's to the left of me and it's at about 7 o'clock. I would say that it was, I actually don't know how many feet that is. I'm gonna say maybe like 5 car lengths away. Maybe 10 car lengths away? No. Maybe like 7 car lengths away. Close. However many feet that is. So if a car is like, what is a car, like 20 feet long? I don't know. So there you go. A little over 100 feet away. And these were lightning bolts hitting the fucking ground. Or maybe not even hitting the ground. I can't see. I think I can see one hitting the ground. But it was all in the atmosphere. And when it hit, you could see it's like webbing. It's like a net in the top. Not only was it a net, but it was a feeling on my whole body. Now, I did not get struck by it, but my body definitely reacted to it. And I was so terrified. I've never talked to myself like that before. I've had to do really difficult physical things in my life. And I've never had to talk to myself like that before. There's one opening on this trail. Actually, there were two that I remember. So you get down to the main trail that I was telling you about earlier, and there's this big log, and there's this big opening. It's just wide open. So I remember stopping there and preparing to sprint so that I could get maybe 500 feet out of the main line. At this time, I was far enough down the mountain, but I was so freaked out, and it was still lightning and raining, but I wasn't right in the cloud because my elevation dropped a good amount. But my heart, my whole body was just in I don't have the words to describe the type of feeling I experienced in my body. I've never, ever experienced that kind of feeling. So, yeah, I got down, and right before the bottom of the bridge of the falls, there's this bridge, and you have to cross the bridge to get through the little pavilion to get to the parking lot. So I stood there for a while, and I was so fucking scared to cross that bridge, because that bridge was metal and wood. I think it was metal and wood. And it was a big, wide open stretch. But at this point, I had already thought in my mind, well, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen, and I've made it this far. So I'm not going to sit here and wait. What am I going to do? I'm either going to run across the bridge and die, or I'm going to sit here like a wuss under this little tree and die. So I just sprinted as quickly as I could underneath the village, the little welcome village. Why do I say village? The little welcome hut. There was this park ranger, and he must have been waiting for me to come down. He must have been waiting for me to come down, because I was the only car in the parking lot aside from his, and I don't even know if his was there, but and he was like fixing something, I don't know, doing whatever in the main area. And as soon as I walked up to him, oh my God, he had such a calm, loving energy, and he knew. He must have known. I wish that I could have seen my expression and just everything. He knew I thought that I was going to die on the mountain. He knew it. And he just acted like such a loving, like, father or brother or something. And I made a joke to him. I don't know. I said something about, like, God. What did I say? Sometimes God puts fear in us. I think that's what I said to him. And he responded, yeah, he'll do that sometimes. And he said it so calmly. He must have experienced something like that before, I'm sure. Just because of the way that he handled it and the way that he was there, I know he was like the lightning angel. I swear he was the lightning angel. I ran to my car. I was fucking terrified. I'm pretty sure I just left that night. I don't even think I stayed. I was so freaked out. I think I just actually left the Carolinas. I was not gonna sleep in a tent anymore that week. I was so scared. So, ever since that experience, I have been pretty unnormally, really. I have been pretty abnormally afraid of lightning, to the point where I will sit in my car until it is completely gone. I don't know. And it's like I can remember the feeling that I had in my body. The fear that it just comes back. The purple was really a beautiful purple, though. That experience actually, in some kind of weird, unconscious ways, in ways that I am not yet fully aware of, that experience definitely changed me. It definitely humbled me in a lot of ways. And I'm the type of person who was very, very comfortable hiking alone in Western North Carolina, which there aren't really a lot of people who are like younger women who I think would say that. So that was kind of a big thing. I don't think I've been back since. So the theme of this story, what is its organic teaching? That's what I'm trying to figure out in this moment. Am I supposed to be reminded of that fear and simultaneously in awe of like the unknown, and simultaneously in awe of nature and its incredible force? Maybe it actually helped free me of fear. So by putting that fear in me, I was able to like transform in some way through it. You know? Because it's kind of like, now I know what to expect. Not that I'm looking for that. Not that I hope I will never. I hope I'm never in a situation like that ever again. I do not ever want to experience something like that again. But now I know. And don't even go there with the missing 411 kind of stuff, because no. I definitely don't even want to go there. Don't even want to go there. So that guy was waiting for me, and he he was waiting there for me. I have chills all over my body. I have chills all over my body. Experiences like that will toughen you in ways that are never visible. Experiences like that will shape your character in unexplainable, in instinctual ways that help you understand how to handle near death and survival, like emergency, like situations. And I can't fully describe why or how, because it's just so instinctual. And it's not like you can put that on a resume, you know? Like, most likely to survive, you know? That's a lot. This is where I would input my nice, like, little sounds for a second. While emotionally, I come down from the feeling in my body that I get from just retelling that story and going through it again. It is like voice therapy for myself and inevitably anyone else who can share in a similar experience, as there are many of us who have had close encounters while hiking, I'm sure, or biking or whatever, rafting, like anything close to nature, surfing, kayaking, who knows. The thing about that story that's so weird, that I want to just go back to for a second, is that this is what's so weird. There were all of these people that were around me when I was up on the top up there. There was like a bunch of people up there. It was one like family. And I'm like, I was thinking that whole time, like, how the fuck did that family get down that hill so fucking fast, faster than me? I could never figure that out. And I don't think I never gave that thought any space until this moment, because I was always so fixated on the actual fear and my own interaction with the situation. But that did come up initially, and now I'm replaying it and thinking how that was also so strange. Like, I wonder how was that even possible? Because they had like kids and stuff. Like, how the fuck did they get down the mountain? There's just no way they did. And there weren't any other cars in the parking lot. So this is that in-between part I'm talking about, you know? And I wasn't meaning to go there because it feels too creepy. And I don't even like that word. I don't want to say it again. But it is just unknown, you know? And I'm not trying to go in that direction at all. I was just trying to share a story about lightning because it randomly started raining and I saw some lightning and I thought, okay. But that's not what I was going to actually even talk about at all. Apparently, that's what was supposed to come out organically. So we'll let it be. I'll have to find some philosophy to tie into that. I'm sure there's a lot of it. It seems like a prime situation to talk about nature and God. Or two favorite subjects. Well, mine, I guess. So it really relates to this whole idea of everything relates to transformation in some way, but maybe to having to act in times of fear. Maybe it has to do with acknowledgement of something more powerful and unexplainable than you, and acknowledging that, and still acting, still moving. I say that because a lot of these, like I'm saying, a lot of change is happening. And people are having to figure out a path, like, I guess it's a metaphor for what's happening right now. It's like, of course I'm trying to tie some kind of like symbolism to why it came up. But it's like trying to navigate, like you know the path and you know how to get down. But there's an element of not being fully visible, but having a clear direction and feeling forced and in part forced. Yeah, forced for survival's sake. Being forced for survival's sake down this path that you can see the path. You've already seen the path. The path is known. So you've already ascended, meaning you've already gone up it once. Now you're going down. So it's like, It's like using what you gained, using the knowledge that you built, and now that you've navigated it, you're going to come down, and when you're coming down, you have the experience to lead in some way. That's what I'm getting out of it. That would be a really great way to train the military. Very dangerous one, but I'm pretty sure they probably do stuff like that, because that made me some kind of warrior. I don't know, but I got some kind of special medal after that day. With that, I'd like to be able to get out of my car with groceries and not, have that fear. So, fear is a hard one. Today feels more reflective and a little less motivating. Today felt a little heavy, I was a little more anxious today than normal. And that's okay. We all have days like that. I think it's I need to stop. Okay. It seems that all of these endings are happening in people's lives right now. I know someone who experienced a death. I know someone who left close relationships just like me. I know someone who's changing their job or wanting to change their job. Oh, I know another person who experienced a death. Lots of endings and beginnings here. Lots of endings and beginnings in this past week. And this week for me was so great. I had this past week, I have just shifted into this come out into the world after being in my deep meditative cave for over a decade phase. And I like that feeling. It's a little intimidating because I'm not really fond of being the spotlight in my own world, but turns out that is just the way that life is. And then you can embody that in a welcoming and friendly way. And so that's the objective. And really it's come through just a self-love and a comfort with myself that I've gained through spending a lot of time developing this, And it's been really hard work the past few years, really hard physical work. So I'm going to have to figure out why that is happening in my own life. It feels a lot more mental now. It's still physical always, but like all of a sudden I have this, okay, I have been boxing consistently for 2 years. And all of a sudden in the past week, I have zero desire to go. Not 1 ounce of me wants to go. Not because I don't want to go. I don't know. I don't know. All of a sudden, it just feels better to talk to my phone and stretch on my floor and eat spinach with no seasonings. I don't know. It's like this great reset. The great reset of 2026. The great reset of May 2026. The great coming out. Do you know, when I was 23, I had this idea. I was getting these really, really very profound visions after spending lots and lots and lots of hours doing yoga. And I had this idea to do this podcast called Uprooted. And it would be about health and spirituality and alternative everything, alternative healing. And turns out that I just have studied all those things and I love all of those things, and here I am just talking on my phone, and that felt like a good name. So that's kind of weird. It's like all of these things are finally aligning that I always had, like started or knew I would do. It feels so divine. It's very I want to just spread that feeling to other people, because I know a lot of people aren't feeling that way, but I just want to remind them of that feeling, because most people in their life at some point have had that indescribable like sip of spirit, or what do I say, like, you know what I'm saying? Maybe not everyone is open to it. Some people haven't. I actually just talked to someone who, I don't know if he's had like any of that ever. I wonder. Or maybe they just deny it if it has. Very, very skeptical. But I don't know how you can live that long and not experience something like that. I don't know. So I guess it really depends. Maybe some people don't ever get a taste of that, like weird divinity. But that sucks, because when you do experience it, you remember, I don't know, you just just life becomes alive again, and it feels less difficult to navigate everything else in some ways, but I wish I was in New York City right now because I really want some like New York City pad thai. Yeah. Pretty much just like anything. Pretty much anything food wise I would eat. I wonder if it's the same as it used to be. I don't know if it could be after COVID. I guess you guys probably know more than me. You guys being no one. Maybe someone someday. When these are so old, people listen back and think, what? This girl was just talking to herself in her room, like on her brick phone with her brick computer. Alone. No dog, no fish. Hopefully not pre-war. But I have avoided any of that. I don't want to think about any of that. I don't want to engage more than I have to with all of those headlines. So this is where I'm starting to fall asleep, and I'll start to have some kind of dream. I know it. I might not be quite there yet, but it is like a late night radio show, you know? It's like too bad you don't have callers though. The callers call in, hey, it's me, Jim, I'm driving, you know. I'm in the North Kentucky something. I just wanted to call up and talk to you a little bit, you know what I'm saying? My girl Bonnie left me. Oh my god. What? Oh. Now I'm gonna go look up how they make records. Look up some more philosophy. Try to... what is something I didn't fully... I want to explore a little bit more around like the fear of nature and like why I'm still so afraid of it. I don't know what I'll find, but my feet are so hot. My feet are hot. It's okay. I'm having a hard time distancing myself from who I am and who I have been for the past few years. I'm feeling that really strongly today, maybe. Like when I woke up this morning, I had this kind of like, I had this brief hesitation about like my confidence in what I'm doing. You know, just for a second, I second guessed it for a little bit. Just like we all second guess ourselves, but then what happens is when we ground and we do these practices like yoga and fitness and meditation and just quiet, then once again we come back to the mind. All of a sudden we remember, okay, no, I know who I am here. I know I'm remembering this, you know? And that's why it's like the body is so incredible. And so few people are ever taught about how to actually access a lot of different things in life. So okay, that was very long. And maybe some horns. Maybe like old school, like the like, is it Johnny Rogers or like, I don't know. I don't even know who that is. I just say it because it's familiar. I imagine like the three like chorus girls like singing like da na 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 na. How cool would that be? So that's my late night radio. My lo-fi Florida vibe past 2005 late night radio with me, your host Alicia, some random girl. Okay.